Welcome to The Cooling Rack, a podcast about the great Canadian baking show where we don't glaze over any of the bakes and there are absolutely no soggy bottoms allowed. My name is James.
And I'm Michael.
And welcome to Old School Week.
I was trying to think of something that was old school. I was going to go, bah, but like not old school.
No, I guess like wicka would be old school.
Oh, okay.
Or super duper would be old school.
Totally.
Yeah. You know.
Bodacious.
Or like, let's go to Byway and then go to Zellers. That would also be
Flower
old school.
power.
Let's go to Dominion.
Eaton's.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Morgan's.
Were you alive when Dominion was still around?
Like Dominion grocery store?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know.
How fucking... I had friends who worked at Dominion all through high school.
I don't know your
Dominion
life.
only became Metro in the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
It was an A&P when I was growing up. And then it became a Dominion. And then it became a Metro.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
We just needed to make
sure.
So
there
we just
you
needed to
go.
make sure.
Oh my god, I can't get over the where I'm using a different pair of headphones recording this week.
I know, you're like super
I'm
triggered
really
by it. You're like everything, like you're
moment.
like you can't get over
I'm really
this.
having a moment, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go right into old school week.
So the signature bake this week was a coffee cake.
Yes. Coffee cake.
Are you a fan of the coffee cake?
Yes, I love coffee flavored things.
Do you really?
I love like a coffee flavored ice cream. I love a coffee crisp. I love a coffee crisp. And I just I love coffee. I actually, oddly enough, don't really love hot coffee. I'm an iced coffee guy. I'm iced coffee and minus 40, and then the person working at Starbucks.
Yeah, you that twink at Starbucks. Iced coffee, please.
Well,
sir, this is a Wendy's.
I'll just have a frosted and a combo one.
No, but you do get iced coffee. Michael gets off. You get iced coffee all the time.
Year round.
Even when you should not be getting iced coffee.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's like we'll be I don't know, doing something, and then you'll come in your car, you'll be driving, and then you'll pick me up because we're gonna go do something, and it'll be I'll be freezing, and then I go in your car, and then there's just I hear ice.
Oh yes,
and then,
yes. Oh
why?
yeah.
Why?
Minus 40, I'm still getting a nice coffee. It's guaranteed every single time.
Ridiculous. Anyways.
So no, I like coffee cake. I like coffee flavored anything. So this was interesting. I guess I should have known when they said that they were doing coffee cake as the signature that it would be variations on and different flavors of, as opposed to in a technical where they would just be doing a regular old coffee cake. So when Jay pulled out bacon or something, I was just
we were so confused.
This isn't coffee cake. Why is there meat here?
It was so funny because they shoot him and he's like, I'm so excited. And we're like, is he chopping meat?
Yeah, what is that?
I personally don't like coffee cake. I'd rather have a cinnamon bun.
Oh.
I'm if you're going to go in that direction, go for cinnamon.
I find that coffee cake is harder to find than a cinnamon bun.
That's true. It is.
So I can't say really which way I would go on that because I feel like coffee cake is normally not the option available. But if it were, I probably would choose it over a cinnamon bun, unless it's a crisp fall morning and there's a fresh hot cinnamon bun with ooey gooey icing all over it. Then
the fall thing. So I was at I was having brunch at Clooney's in the distillery on Sunday, and at brunch they do this they call it a pastry experience, where they give you 3 pastries of any kind, basically, of chef's choice.
Okay.
And then she was like, "Oh, our pastry chef just went to this place and he baked with some of the best in the world, and then he's back and he's doing some really amazing things."
Yeah.
And then so we ordered it, and then one of them was it was like a muffin and a donut at the same time or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was pumpkin spice. And I was like, "Oh, pumpkin spice.
Oh, so she went to a Starbucks? Is that where the pastry chef went?
I was like, pumpkin spice. Yes, girl. Yeah, okay.
Was there a point to that story?
No, I just wanted to let you know.
Okay.
I think it's because you said fall. You're like,
yes,
fall.
a crisp
I want
fall
it crisp.
day.
And then it just reminded me of that. Yeah, because we are in pumpkin spice season.
Yeah, and if you're wondering if the audio sounds any different, and I'm not sure if it really does, but we put the windsock on our microphone because we forgot to put it on at first. So, okay, so coffee cake. First up, we had Jody.
Jody made a spring harvest coffee cake.
I guess it was summer when they filmed this, because now I'm like so fall. I'm like, why would you make something spring in fall? But yeah, okay, cool, a spring harvest cake.
Yeah.
It had like a nice texture.
Strawberry rhubarb in the middle.
Yeah, it was very distinct. Kyla's feedback, though, was that there was no swirl, which she would kind of expect from like a rhubarb, thing.
I thought I was asking a lot.
A swirl?
Yeah, it was like she worked so hard. Last minute, I saw, Jody's just like, oh my god, I'm just gonna get all this stuff and we're gonna, and then they cut it open, and then Kyla's like, could also use a swirl. It's like, oh my god.
So overall, she had like really good feedback. The only thing that kind of maybe it was just like with the filming and what we saw or whatever, but she basically had this point where she just like ripped open her cake and just started like slopping jam inside of it, and like
it was like, well, got 2 minutes,
which
yeah.
So the feedback was still so strong, so it was kind of interesting to me because at least it didn't look like she had cleanly sliced it, so I thought she would kind of get some feedback on, well, your edges aren't super neat, because we can see a differentiation in where you cut it, but
I find coffee cake just kind of a messy cake generally.
Oh god, no, I just want a fucking coffee cake.
Old school.
So bad. Okay, next up, did you have anything else to say about Jody?
No.
Okay, next up was Jasmine.
Jasmine made a sweet peach coffee cake.
Yummy. Although peach and coffee, like, that's the thing, to me, I know coffee cake is like kind of sweet, but it's on this savory end of sweet to me.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Like, I guess though, like, cinnamon goes well. Like, some people put cinnamon in peaches and stuff like that. So I think it can be drawn over. It can be drawn over to the apple side of things, maybe a bit more.
I would put cinnamon on a peach. I wouldn't put cinnamon in a peach cake.
No, that's true. That's true. Also, peach, I'm just more of a pie person when it comes to peaches.
Yeah. Or like the fuzzy variety.
Yeah.
I love fuzzy peaches. Okay, so her feedback was that it wasn't actually too sweet, because you would have expected, like, from her streusel that it would be, and that overall it was like a, decent coffee cake.
I guess, like, people make peach cobbler. It's kind of like...
Yeah, but it's not... coffee peach cobbler.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, the idea of peach makes sense,
yeah.
and the idea of coffee cake makes sense.
Yeah.
But then bringing them together, to me, does not make sense.
Now I feel like I'm gonna have to eat a peach and drink coffee at the same time and see what happens.
I'm going to tell you, you're going to be disgusted if you do that. Okay, next up was Chris.
Chris made a chai spice coffee cake.
I thought it was so gross.
You were so upset with how it looked.
Well, it was just like the pear. Like, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I think that the feedback and everything, it was like good tasting. But the actual above view to me was heinously unappetizing.
I feel like if it was like if they were sort of peach slices on top, it would make sense. But it was that weird sort of like roasty sort of slicing of it. Yeah. It just reminded me of like almost something that's gone through like a meat process. Like it was very visceral. It was very visceral.
Yeah. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you go to the deli counter and they take the like big thing of turkey and they just like slice. Yeah. It was like he did that with a pear.
Yeah, it just reminded me like the spiralized, but like it just looked like it was cut open, but like kind of. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That wasn't what it was for me, though. It was the color. It was that the streusel was very brown, and then the pears were very brown, and it was all very brownish, greenish, like kind of like. Yeah,
I couldn't tell if it was the filming because some people look kind of gray this week. Like everyone had the flu or something.
It's a gray day for some people. And then so
But chai, spice, and pear, like that's.
They
really,
said that it was like great tasting, but that it kind of fell apart like a bit too much, like more than a normal coffee cake would.
And he looked so sad when
he looked really.
He looked like
He looked really sad, or he just looked really tired. Like he or like his eyes were dry, like because the way when your eyes are really dry, and then you like close them for a minute, and like you're not really clenching them closed. You're just like.
You're just resting mode.
You're resting.
It's been a hard day.
That's kind of what it looked like when they were like, yeah, so there's that. And then he just kind of went like,
Okay, I'm going to take a nap now. Mama can rest. She got a feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then next up was Colin.
Colin, we had a Morning Glory coffee cake.
What's in that?
I think it was apple.
I don't know.
I think it was apple.
I don't
something.
know. I don't think so.
No?
Well, I don't know. There was were there like fig on top of it?
Oh, there was figs. It was figs. It was figgy. Sorry. I feel like there were apples in it though.
Okay.
Because someone was cooking apples. Someone had to cook down apples. I bet you it was apple fig. Apple fig. I bet you it was that. We don't remember right now. But what was the feedback?
The feedback was that it was like very even. The only thing, like a very like nice even bake, but that the streusel had actually kind of melded to the cake, and it was no longer like a separated layer. I've never baked a coffee cake myself, but there's a part of me that's like, why wouldn't you just like bake the cake and then also bake your streusel on like a cookie sheet so it can get like really crisp and then just like throw it on top of the cake after. I don't know if that's like not a part of coffee cake that it needs to. God, I'm getting a fucking coffee cake tomorrow.
I don't know, Elon Musk,
swear to God.
So innovative.
I'm so innovative.
Yeah, you're like, why don't you just do it separate?
I don't know. I just feel like then like that way you
I feel like it's supposed to like kind of stick to the cake, but I think maybe in this case there's too much butter in it and not enough other stuff, so it melted away basically.
Well, it didn't melt; it melded.
Like it fused.
Fused, yeah.
Like an alloy.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Okay, next up was Natalia.
She made a summer orchard coffee cake.
So we've had spring, we've had summer.
I had fall on Sunday, and now winter's coming.
Well, actually, kind of with the next one. But okay, so then they said that she had baked hers like too high in temp, which was very visible. It was like overcooked on the outside and then not too much on the inside. Yeah. And she was just worried about timing. And although my, I don't know, this is a subjective opinion, but then when she was like, oh, I'm learning so much on this show, it's like, I don't think that I probably would never say like, oh, I'm learning about like the differences of temperature in my cooking, like to the judges.
I mean,
because especially when you've 1-star baker 2 times, like they literally are like have expected a lot from you, and to be like, oh yeah, like I'm learning that if it's hotter, it'll cook faster.
I'm sure it was a little deeper than that.
I know. That's just all we saw. So, okay, next up was Jay.
Memphis coffee cake.
Memphis, because it was Elvis.
Elvis. Like, are you Elvis?
I was like, why was it Memphis? Okay, yeah, because it was peanut butter and bacon.
Which is quite delicious.
I've never had it.
It's just like salty and like sweet and just crunchy and creamy. It's just like all your senses, like all the senses we evolutionarily have been driven to seek out, because it usually means that you're getting calories and salt and stuff. It's all in that.
Yum.
Which is really good.
Yum.
Except when it's raw. Yeah.
Or when it's in a coffee cake.
No, I think there's something interesting about coffee, peanut butter, and bacon. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a story. So my lovely...
It was 1966.
So my lovely partner over there, he does this thing. This is why it works. This is why Jay's recipe works, where he will eat chocolate cake and eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
But he'll use coffee as the in-between, because he said coffee goes with chocolate cake and coffee goes with eggs and breakfast. So you take a bite of chocolate cake, then you drink coffee, and you eat some eggs, and then you drink coffee, and then you eat cake again. That is basically what Jay baked into a cake.
with peanut butter.
Yeah, but
it goes with
you
breakfast.
Know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Well, it's like
yeah,
peanut butter sandwich. You can have it with coffee, and the
yeah.
bacon and the breakfast you have it with coffee. So coffee.
Coffee.
So it does.
Coffee
That's why it works.
Yeah. The interesting thing was that he had it had such a nice top to his cake. So how the fuck was it so raw? Like it was like
probably baked to high temperature actually.
But then that's very interesting. I guess that's the differences in bakes because like Natalia's was like baked like with a hard edge on it, and Jay's looked from the outside like it was nicely.
Well, I mean, because hers was baking at lower temperatures, it was actually cooking through, and then she got nervous at the end. She turned it up, so the edges baked too much. I'm pretty sure he put in his at too high already, so the top looked done because it was getting all the heat from the outside, but the middle had not cooked yet because the temperature didn't travel fast through the cake.
It's crazy. I feel like he would have totally had like a Star Baker worthy.
I know.
Like, because they said like, oh, flavors are great, everything's great, but like, literally when the judges say like, we need to eat from the outside, so because that's
Salmonella.
Unfortunate. Yeah. Okay, and then lastly we had Liam.
Pear-shaped coffee cake.
It all came out pear-shaped, except it didn't.
I know.
It actually, like, when he was doing it, he was like, I'm really worried about the moisture. I was saying to James, I was like, this is not going to go well. That won't go well. It's going to be like a puddle of, like, cake.
You were like, someone did that on Bake Off and they went home. He's gone home.
And then, actually, it turned out really good. And they loved it. And they said that his pears were poached to perfection.
Yeah.
Or the new movie from Universal Studios, Poach Perfect.
Oh, that's bad.
I thought that was funny.
Ooh.
You're like Pitch Perfect?
Yeah, I get it,
Yeah,
but it's pretty bad.
It's a baking movie. Get over it. Get into it. But overall, I thought it looked really great. The only thing is, I guess with the way that the whole pear is in his bake, I guess to eat it, you're not just like eating a thing. You're like eating it and then like scooping off some pear as well, right? Since it's not in like bite-sized chunks.
His was the only one where like when they cut a piece off to taste it, they cut off like a whole third of it. They had to like pick up a whole pear.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think I was sort of like surprised about how this bake sort of fell through. Like the different success factors. Like I thought Jay would be really good because like they mentioned like 8 times that he was the only one that remembers the 70s.
True.
Apparently the 70s were a little raw.
A little raw. All right, that's the signature. All right, and now it's time for the technical?
The technically challenge.
Yeah, seriously. This was
This was like
there was some screaming, some shouting, and wow. It was creme caramel was the technical challenge. I know like they're difficult in a certain sense, but I don't know. I like was not expecting this from everyone.
Yeah, we had quite a few flops in this one. Yeah, it's pretty intense, actually.
Like, very intense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start first. So we had Jasmine, and hers just didn't have enough time to chill.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they were, like, on their way. They didn't go full soup.
Mm-hmm.
They retained a bit of shape.
Yeah.
And the flavor was good.
Yeah, it was more like they were sort of just kind of like, it looked like someone had pressed them down a little bit.
Exactly.
Just like squished them, squish some of the stuff out.
Exactly. There you go. Okay, then we had Colin, and holy fuck, like, correctness.
Mm-hmm.
Category is correct realness, and that is what she was serving. The jiggle was right. The custard was good. Like,
no. You could tell he felt good when he looked at everyone else's. He was like, I better be number one. If I'm not number one, I'm quitting this show.
Flip a table. Where's my mac and cheese?
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
These are great. So good job, Colin. Next up we had because like Colin's kind of the only one that we can say like good job.
Yeah.
About. So next up we had Liam, and Bruno went, Well, in this case, like, no, we don't need any spoons. We need straws. And when Liam took his out of the ramekin, James and I, like, you know, that would have been a YouTube worthy moment. Is if we had a camera rolling when we were going, like they, like, complete and utter soup.
It is one of the disasters that I think if you're producing the show and filming for, you like kind of want to have. Well, because like you know, it's always one of those things when they bake something like this, you're like, oh, someone's gonna liquefy it.
Yeah.
And then they all do it, and they're like, oh, actually, everyone kind of came out decent. But this one was like, it was just it was amazing.
It is like a perfect.
I can't even think of how to describe it. It was just amazing.
It is like a perfect
TV moment.
Exactly, where because it's like such an unknown quantity until the exact moment, and when it happens, it's like either right or it's not. Yeah. And it was so like, because especially like Liam was like, oh, I don't know, should I take him out? Like everybody else has taken theirs out yet, and so you're waiting and you're thinking, yeah, he's smart. He's giving it an extra like 3 or 5 minutes maybe to like let it firm up, right? And then when he finally took the towel, it's just
man, he filled that whole plate. That whole plate was filled edge to edge. It was good value.
Yeah. Although he did get the compliment of like his custard tasted like a good custard.
Yes.
And that will come back into play.
Mm-hmm.
Next up we had Chris, and his just hadn't set.
Yeah. It was like semi-firm.
But they said that it was like a silky custard and that his caramel was really good.
Yes.
So then we had Natalia, and they said that it was unpleasant, like eating a scrambled egg texture, but just none of it was good.
I know.
And the top of it didn't look like there was much caramel. It looked like then it had burnt or like you know how when you put like eggs in like a frying pan and then like you don't like move them around enough and then they start to like that's what that looked like.
Yeah, it almost looked like some of her caramel had like got like either like on maybe like sucked into the custard or something. Like it's something or she didn't have enough.
Exactly.
To go between all of them, and they opened one of the last ones to get caramel, so only had a little bit.
And then she also, so she turned one over, and it didn't happen, and she just decided to leave the rest of them in there, and we'll get back to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. Then we had Jay, burnt caramel, acrid was the word.
I know. I was like, whoa, she had to go into her mental thesaurus for that one. Like, that was like...
Oh, so we're all using acrid now? Yeah.
All right. Oh, so you really want to fight.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Like,
I know. He's having a bad week.
Yeah, and also just, like, lost their shape.
It was grainy as well. It was also a little eggy.
Yeah.
The words were.
But not like scrambled eggs.
No, not as bad as Natalia in this case.
And then last we had Jody. Not enough time, basically, they said, to let it... was it not enough time in the oven or not enough time to set?
I think hers was... It went into the oven a little too late.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Jasmine's, I think, was the only one that... Was the one that had been in the oven long enough, but it didn't have enough time to set.
And Chris, too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But, Jody, not enough time in the oven, but the caramel was very good. They really liked her caramel.
Yeah, exactly.
So, let's go through the rankings. Natalia was in 7th.
Yeah, and then Jay was in 6th.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was gonna go through like with just the first couple of these. That it was shocking. You and I were.
Yeah, we were a little like
you
what?
In particular were like Liam's in 7th, right? Like it was a plate of soup.
Because it was soup.
But then the feedback that they gave to Natalia's was the scrambled egg texture of it. But they also basically said you're in 7th because an element of the technical is removing them from the ramekins, and you didn't do that with all of them, so like automatic last.
Yeah.
Then we had Jay in 6th, and it was the burnt caramel. Liam in 5th, which was a bit surprising, but again, I guess they said flavor was.
Yeah, and it wasn't eggy. I guess it's better soupy than it is like scrambled eggs. Because what did Bruno say? It's better underdone than overdone.
Yeah. Okay, then in 4th, we had Jody.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, and then in 3rd place, we had Jasmine.
Yep, in 2nd, we had Chris.
And then numero uno this time was Colin.
With, like,
Like
no
by
competition.
far. Like by far.
Just not even like Chris had, like they said, 3.5 of them were like there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there.
It was like a
But I mean, like, it was when they like put them down, it was like, okay, Colin's first. Where's everyone else falling?
I know, basically.
Like,
they could have just started with Colin. I will say the editing was done fairly well this time, because I think one thing that they discussed was that in order for it to bake long enough, you're supposed to warm your custard before, so it brings it up to a temperature, so when it goes in the oven, it's not room temp. And they kind of did show, like, Jody, who didn't do that, Liam, who definitely didn't do that, and then
Colin, who definitely did do that.
Exactly, and then they show it come out, in response to whether one or one does not heat their custard, which is a really good educational moment for everyone. So, in Natalia's words, we all learned something today.
The more you know.
Exactly.
And that's the technical. Over the course of a season, so much gets filmed, but not everything makes it to air. Aurora, one of the hosts of the Great Canadian Baking Show, has behind-the-scenes details and so much she wants to share that we've created a segment on the show. This is Aurora on Record. So what was it like getting to know some of the bakers, and like what were their processes like in the tent? I know, kind of you and Colin seemed to really get along, and that you were developing like a good friendship from what we could see on air. So what was kind of he like, and some of the other bakers in the tent?
I mean, Colin he was very, very easy to get to know, and had no problem also with people being in his kitchen. Some people were a little bit more... like they were really focused. Natalia's very focused in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And when you ask her the right question, if she's not, because sometimes sometimes they're all stressed out. And then you ask her the right question, and her face just lights up. And it was so nice there were so many. It was really easy to get to know all of them. They were all really lovely. But I'm genuinely happy I met all of them. It was really interesting to watch them all. Because really it's a show about stress and managing stress. The baking is a little bit secondary, really. I mean, I know it's a baking show.
Yes.
Stuff, but really you're watching these people wrestle with themselves. And it was uncanny how every week, or, every episode, each person would have a bit kind of the same challenge. We started to be able to predict who would have trouble with what, or who would might handle things a certain way, and it's kind of a privilege, although I know that's a overused and a bit of a cheesy word, but it is a bit of a privilege to be let in on somebody dealing with themselves, because that was the biggest thing. They get to practice and plan these things before they come in, because so much can still go wrong. Just technically, there were a few times where like ovens got turned up by accident and people didn't notice, or whatever, or people were too ambitious. All those, things happened, and watching them get themselves through a moment, that every person in the world has to kind of learn how to do that for themselves as you become a grown up, right? You realize like nobody can help me but myself. I have to get through this. And so that was really cool, actually, to watch them get themselves through the stresses that they had been put under, and they were all very gracious, super, super gracious and nice.
Okay, so from there, we're going on to the Showstopper,
which is a celebration slab cake.
I
Celebrate good times.
Don't do too much, otherwise it's copyright infringement. No, I'm kidding. So I feel like...
That'd be public realm by now.
Well, if Mickey Mouse isn't, then there you go. So, okay, I feel like it's a good idea. The only thing is, like, it's a cake, and we also had a cake earlier, but this wasn't Cake Week. We already had Cake Week.
Yeah.
So... I would have loved if, like, old school had, I don't know, something that involved Jell-O.
But you don't really bake Jell-O.
But, like, it could be a component.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah.
Remember, or, like, they did a Baked Alaska on Gibbo, right?
Yeah.
But
I see what you mean.
I still think this is a good showstopper for, like, old school. It totally fits. It's just, like, there's a lot of cake.
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Anyway, so shall we just dive right in?
Yeah.
Okay, so first up we had Jody.
Jody made a sweetheart cake.
Oh yes, for her 10th wedding anniversary.
I love it. I love it.
Adorbs. Yeah, it was like nice, clean. I was actually surprised at how nice the icing on the outside of her cake looked.
Oh, like the green painted?
Green?
Yeah.
Because in the little image that they show you beforehand, I was not... Sorry, I thought about one of the other bakes in the picture. Sorry. Oh, God.
From the photo, you were like, from the drawing, you were like, I don't know how it's going to look.
I said it's either going to look really good or it's not. I know, you're having a moment too.
Well, that's because I can't stop looking at you.
This has nothing to do with Jody's cake.
To,
Jody's cake was great.
I have to, like, not look at you.
Yeah, I know. Jody's cake was great.
Jody's cake was really beautiful.
The green, I kept thinking, like, that might end up looking kind of garish, but
Yeah.
it was really nice. And, like, her handwriting was beautiful. Like they said, it was centered, which is very impressive to do that, like, freehand from above. And the roses, like, those look totally fake. And she iced those herself.
I know. They were really nice. And the green was bright. I enjoyed how bright it was, because it could have been, you're right, could have been garish, could have been acidic, a little acidic, but it was just, it was like a green lush field.
Yeah. And then they said that it was a good sponge, and it was just overall, like...
I wanted to eat that.
Yeah, it looked good. The funny thing about slab cake in comparison to, like, a lot of the other bakes that they've done is, like, there's just so much fucking cake.
I know. They all made, like, 8 cakes.
Yeah,
Did you see Natalia? She, like, at one point she was just like, there's, like, 16
she was, like,
slabs of, like,
perching on, like, a thing here, perching on a thing here,
Yeah.
like, Aurora's holding a cake for her, like, you know. Okay, so next up we had Colin, and he did
a next adventure cake.
for his mom's retirement. So that's super fun. I don't know. I guess when you're making a cake, like, you do it for whatever flavor, like, the person you're making it for. So I'm sure his mom loves chocolate cake. There's just something about, like, when I think of like retirement, I think of, like, a white cake. I don't know why in my mind.
I know what you mean, because like a white sort of vanilla cake is the most it's the most generic metro loblaws.
I guess because most of the retirement cakes you always see are, like, in an office that was bought at the grocery store.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, no one makes them.
Exactly.
Yeah, you go order it at Loblaws, like, 3 hours
yeah.
before you need it, and then
Exactly.
and then they bring them. Actually, Loblaws cakes are a lot better than they used to be in the old school days now. But yeah, that's why you think of generic white cake.
Do you remember when Tim Hortons used to make cakes?
No.
Maybe it's because I grew up in Oakville and that was where headquarters was, so maybe they only made them there. But you could go to the like head office, like Tim Hortons, like flagship location there, and you could get a cake. And the cake was, this was also when they used to make everything in the store, right? Like pre-2003. And like, the cake was so good, and you could get your choice of, like, filling. So you could get, like, a Boston cream donut filling in the middle of the... and so when I think of slab cake, I think of that, and then it makes me sad that Tim Hortons food is so shitty.
Oh my god, Tim Hortons has gone to such shit. Oh my god.
Although I did go to their
like, innovation cafe.
Yeah. The donuts there were actually, like, pretty decent.
Because they have to make them there. Yeah. Because, like, they're unique. And they can't, like...
So they were actually, like, pretty good. Yeah. I was very impressed. But then I was saying that, like, with some of the stuff that they did, if I had seen, let's say even they did that in an actual store. Yeah. If I saw that in just a regular Tim Hortons, I'd be like, what's this fucking garbage donut? But there's something about the fact that they're like, no, this is a nice place with, like, nice things. That made me go, like, yeah, that is nice. Whereas if I saw that normally, like, you know, when they're like, oh yeah, here's like you know, RCMP Mountie donut, like, you know.
So what you're saying is their marketing ploy to millennial foodies works.
Yeah, I guess, like, but because, like, in a store, like, and if they ever put those in a regular Tim Hortons, I wouldn't get them because I would still think that they just looked way too, like, junk. I wouldn't trust that the flavor is gonna be good. I know what you mean.
It's like when a sports team wins and they have, like, oh, here's, like, a Blue Jays cupcake, and you can see, like, it's just kind of.
Yeah.
It's just kind of rough looking.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they mix that icing.
Is this like a Little League cupcake? Like, you know.
It's a wiffle ball cupcake. The icing was like still kind of frozen when the guy had to pipe it on. It just looks a little busted.
Yeah.
It looks like didn't quite make it off of, the Galapagos. Like, not quite evolved.
Yes.
Like the animals all look a little...
Yes.
A little hurt, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, we were still on call-in because retirement cake, and then I got into all of that, into importance cake.
Yeah.
I thought that his cake looked really good, but they said it was kind of dry.
But, and the tea was, like, kind of just... off on the edge. It was like
it was like happy. I thought when you said the tea, I was like, oh, what was the tea? Tell us what the tea was.
It was like, oh, why is that tea off the side? See, so basically, if I bake that cake, someone's like, oh, the lettering's a bit off. I'd be like, no, that tea represents you about to leave this company.
Well, he kind of was. He was like, yeah, it's rushing off to retirement. I see. If somebody
retirement
said that,
land.
If somebody was like, oh yeah, like. The tea is like kind of off, like the wording is off center. I'd be like, I just throw the cake on the ground. Like, well, now you don't get a fucking cake.
I'd leave the tea off and just be happy retirement.
Yeah, happy retirement.
Like a lot of men.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna get some menses when you retire. Happy retirement.
I love it.
That needs to be like a gay themed retirement. A retirement house. A retirement house?
It could just be when you have a male stripper at your retirement party.
Ooh.
That's a retirement.
A retirement party, yes. Okay, next up was Chris with a messy mess.
You were so upset about this. It was a We Did It cake, by the way.
Well, he didn't.
Much better in concept than in execution.
Like, when we were laughing earlier... about
is that what you were laughing
about?
Yes! That's not what I was laughing about.
I don't know what you were laughing about then. Yes, that's what I was laughing about.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, the thing showed, like, a pill bottle that was, like, coming off of the cake with little pills scattered on top.
Like a Dr. Mario game.
And, like, we did it in a stethoscope and everything.
There was, like, a whole hospital.
It was, like...
There was, like, the newest wing of sick kids built on it. Like, it was just, like...
and then it was the saddest.
It was like the monk school of cardiology. It was, and then I know it wasn't
like
that.
There was two things. It's that the decoration was sorely lacking. It was like just like a little piped everything, and I just feel so bad for Chris because you and I keep saying he seems so fucking stressed out. It's like. Don't make everything so complicated for yourself. Like, he makes everything so complicated for himself.
Yeah, he had, like, a whole, like, country's worth of bananas on that cake. Like, it was just so much. Like, it was just...
King K. Rool stole the bananas, and they were on that cake.
Yeah, it's just, like, I get stressed out watching. Like, I get stressed out. And I'm the same thing. I think Aurora was like, have you ever thought about, like, not making things so hard for yourself? It was kind of the same thing. It's like, you can... Because let's all breathe.
It was just so unsuccessfully done, and it's starting to really frustrate me.
I know you get really irritated.
Well, it's really frustrating me at this point because it's like, just like pull back a little, like do what like Aurora says, just like do it, but like do something really successfully one time. Because even in the good bakes that he has had, there have been times where they're still like, oh, well, you didn't finish the decoration you wanted to, or like you didn't. And so, with this one, it was the decoration. But the other thing too is like the chocolate, like glaze or whatever, because he didn't temper chocolate, but his stuff seems to just like lack this shine or sheen or even this matte. It's like this weird in between where it just looks like stale.
I know.
You know? And so, yeah, that to me was like, it wasn't just the decoration, it was that the whole chocolate on the outside did not look good to me.
You're an angry queen.
Yeah, sorry, I have like really strong feelings about that. But they said that it was a really good taste, but that the slices of banana shouldn't probably go in a cake that big.
Yeah, or like it should be a cream maybe or something like that. Not like not just like so many bananas.
Banana cream, so yummy. Oh my god, I had some pudding last night, and like it was delightful. It was a dinette.
You need to stop.
It was really
You
yummy.
need
I was
to
in the grocery
stop.
store and I was just like tempted. So
It was a yogurt tubes.
it was a Go-Gurt. I had a Go-Gurt last night.
It was a no-name frozen slab cake.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. We'll continue. Then we have Natalia.
Who made a happy birthday cake for her mom.
No, her mother-in-law.
Oh, no, her mother-in-law, sorry.
Yeah. Which was a spinach cake.
Yes.
And they ate it up.
I know.
Not just because they had to judge, but they loved it.
I know. Maybe Bruno's favorite cake.
Yeah, seriously. It's okay. The only thing I think that Canadian baking show is missing still is like in the UK they have like a Hollywood handshake where if something really impresses Paul you get a handshake, or like sometimes like Prue will give someone a pat on the back. It's a Prue pat and everything. It's like we're missing something to distinguish between something that is fantastic tasting and something that is like terrific job. And I want like. And since the Hollywood handshake kind of became a thing, like I guess he can't really do like a Bruno handshake or like a Kyla handshake or something, but I want something like that so then I can really tell, like, because Bruno said like it might be his new favorite cake, but I want to know, was it his new favorite cake and it's handshake deserving, or was it his new favorite cake and like it was very good?
I see what you mean. Yeah, some sort of indicator of really good success.
Yeah.
When you said Kyla something, all I could think was Kyla kick. It's so good, I gotta kick it.
when it's bad, I just kick it off the table.
That'd be pretty amazing.
Kick and stretch and kick. I'm Kyla. Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Totally. Anyway, so Natalia, the roses were so good.
Yeah, Natalia did a really good job.
Like it was just like somehow like because she like airbrushed it or something,
beautiful,
and it just had this lovely pastel color, and
she brought it back. You know, she didn't really do the creme caramel that well, and she brought it back.
And her signature wasn't great too. I think if she had screwed up she might have gone home.
You think so?
If this was bad,
yeah, it's true.
She was 7th in the technical. Right? And they didn't really like her signature.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, bringing it back. Okay, so then we had Liam.
Liam's was what was making me giggle. It was making me giggle. Yeah, it was the good luck, Grace.
Good luck, Grace.
It was making me giggle. It makes me giggle because it was for like a caribou. Like it's just like here, which like, is like the most Canadian thing you can have is like, oh yeah, there's like this caribou in our neighborhood, and
so would
bake a cake for her.
Would back home like because you know how like normally you bake a cake and you bring it to a party or something, right? So would he just like take it to the forest and leave it there?
It's like a ritual. It's like if you don't bake a cake for Grace every year, she comes into town and steals a child.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be pretty funny.
You got this, Grace. Got what? The baby?
Got my niece.
Yeah. They said that it was moist, but that his filling was a little thin between the layers.
Yeah. And the antlers didn't really work out. It was like great. She's dead.
That's being mounted on a wall. Yeah. I guess it was a bit weird because the antlers because it was like forest on the top, and the antlers were just coming out from there. Yeah. So like, and they were concept wise, it's like, why are they removed from head or body and just coming out of the forest? Like,
it was the spirit of Grace. It's her.
So she didn't get it. Like
it's her
Grace
essence.
Did not get it.
Essence.
You know.
But it was fun. I liked it. I like watching Liam work some days because, like, when he's like piping, the pipe tip just like comes off. Yeah. His icing comes out. Or that first week when he baked, I think, the cake in a 7, he had all these nuts and he was just like dumping it all over the cake. I just love it.
I think Liam is the opposite of Chris.
Yes.
And watching Liam bake is really fun and joyful because he's just kind of doesn't seem too phased when something doesn't go his way, and Chris just seems so stressed.
Yeah.
I like. Liam said it himself. His piping work is not great, and it was not great. Like if he could just improve his piping, like if he just chose one skill to improve, his piping would like really elevate it because decoration on a cake is important, and he's almost never had anything of this tastes bad.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
It's just it never looks, and a lot of the time since there have been a lot of cakes, it's piping.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, then we had Jay.
Jay made a rainbow pride cake.
So pretty.
Be proud.
Be proud. Yeah, I really liked it. I thought like it was actually channeling the like
slab cake. Yeah, that is like a pride slab cake.
Yeah, like I really liked that there was like actually channeling that. Like that was some like Metro like Hannaford realness.
Yeah. That's like only the Loblaws at Maple Leaf Gardens will do that one because they're so close to the village.
Exactly. No. The other every store will make it for you.
Yeah.
The one at Maple Leaf Gardens just has stacks of them.
What are you talking about? There ain't no gays eating cake during Pride.
Fine. Okay. They have a regular size or a micro size cake, and they call it a Pride slab cake. It's like this big, and everybody just has a forkful.
No, what they have are photos of the slab cake that you can take home and put in your fridge. I'm so full. All right.
Just a side of ice. Maybe one Tic Tac. Yeah, I thought that Jay's looked so great. Like, I really thought that, like, I thought he was going to pull it out.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pull it off, too, yeah.
Like, you know, and
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I feel bad because, like, when he baked the cake with the sprinkles, like, everyone was like,
it was
oh, it's so pretty, it's so
yeah.
cute, it's so rainbow, and it was beautiful. It was like,
But then he didn't have the egg yolks in there, he just had the egg whites, and they said that it removed a lot of the flavor, which was, I didn't know that. So, you, like Natalia said, we learned something new.
This was an episode of learning.
An episode of learning.
And then unfortunately the icing was just whipped cream and raspberries, and I guess like it's almost too light. Like everything's almost too light. There isn't anything that holds it down because yolk has a lot of density.
Yeah.
Really holds down cake. It grounds cake.
Yeah.
And I think you end up just having a lot of fluff.
It's interesting because when you're saying with the whipped cream is like the cake looked like it was going to be so sweet and sugary, and then it wasn't, right, and sometimes if it looks a certain way, your flavor needs to match that, otherwise it's like jarring to the mind. You know,
this episode has sort of taught me that for them flavors do play quite a big part. Like even if it doesn't look great, they prefer flavor over aesthetics, which is an interesting aspect of the judging.
Okay, and then last we had Jasmine.
Toast to the class.
I thought this was great.
Of 2020.
Yeah.
I was 09.
I was 14.
Oh my god.
Bitch, 5 years. It's not that much.
Oh my god, 09. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're an old bitch.
Oh, yeah. I know. Colin's gonna bake me a next adventure cake.
Happy retirement! Yeah, retirements for you.
Yes, please.
Man. Class of 2020.
Oh, good luck, girl.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I particularly thought the grad in like that kind of Letterman style, like
like billboard marquee-esque sort of thing.
Yeah, terrific. Looked so great. Like this was one of the ones where normally like you see the little picture beforehand and then like it turns out like it, where this one looked so much better than the picture. Like the picture looked great and I thought, oh, that'll be a really nice cake if it turns out.
Yeah.
But in person it was so much more, not in person. through the camera. It was
through the magic of television.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, she even had those little like I think they were fondant tassels or they were those sort of like some sort of sugar candy tassels. It was so beautiful.
Yeah,
I loved it. And the color, the pink came off so great. It wasn't too like alarming. It was like nice and pastel and it was like so not chaotic. You know, some of the other ones were like there was like a lot going on them, and hers was like it had that vibe. It felt very collegiate too.
It felt like something you would actually see at a graduation.
Yeah,
like it would literally just be like on the plate at like a it would be there.
Yeah, I hope she bakes that for her graduation.
Yeah, she should.
For her friends.
I mean, like, come on, like she's got it now. And not only did it look great, but they said it was delicious.
I want to know what cake that was.
It was a
because-
lemon something.
I know, but it was like he was just like, oh, you clearly baked this before. It's like we want that.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah. So that was great. All right. So here we go.
Let's do it.
Jasmine was Star Baker because she was third in the technical. She had a really good signature, and she clearly came in first or second in Showstopper. Probably second only to Natalia or maybe Jody.
Yeah, they were pretty. Yeah.
But like she was up there. So Jasmine was Star Baker. So good for her. Congrats, Jasmine.
Yay! Snaps for you.
And then unfortunately we had to say bye to Jay.
I know.
And that was a bummer because he was just
man.
always like a step off.
Tough
you know?
Because when I saw the cake,
Yeah.
I was like,
He's
when I
staying.
saw the cake itself, I saw, he's got it. And then when I kind of saw the end product, I was like, the rainbow's beautiful, but I think it did look a little, like after you see something like Natalia's, it's like, oh wow, like she's got a lot going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even Jasmine's, but then the flavor was just a bit weak, which is really sad. Yeah.
Very true. All right, so now it's time for our review of our baking brackets from last week.
Yes, please.
So
I'm so
I
off.
said, you and I literally should have reversed some stuff because I said that Jay was going to be Star Baker.
Yeah, I said Jody was going to be Star Baker.
And Jay unfortunately went home, but I said Liam was going to go home.
I said Jasmine was going to go home.
So I said that Jay would be Star Baker and he went home, and James said that Jasmine was going to go home and she was Star Baker.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just goes to show how much we know.
Nothing.
And exactly. Then I said that Natalia would be fourth in the technical, and she was seventh.
I said Chris was, and he was second, so it's closer.
Okay,
It's
yeah. Okay, so for next week, it is chocolate week. Chocolate.
Thanks, Kathy. Who do you think will be Star Baker?
For chocolate week? Colin.
Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna give it to Chris.
Oh my god, I was going to say it's definitely not going to be Chris because all of the chocolate that we've seen him do so far, I just think is
But maybe he'll
that.
just focus on just the chocolate and nothing else.
Okay.
Maybe he'll learn from this week.
I just want to see the
Learnings.
chocolate look good, like without. I want that like sheen, that
I know
luster.
you want like tempered, beautiful.
Yeah.
Linda Evangelista.
Exactly.
She's the
yeah.
model.
She stoned that chocolate
I get
herself.
it,
Exactly.
I get it.
Okay, so then who is going home?
Liam. I just don't think.
I
just feel like he'll mess up chocolate a little bit because he's kind of messy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Chocolate is a precise.
like something will be over tempered, something will be under tempered,
Yeah.
something will split. Like
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay, I think Chris.
All right.
I don't know, just with my chocolate feelings
Chocolates.
so far. Okay, as I write that down. Okay. How many are left now?
6.
So what should we be, third in the technical or fourth?
Fourth.
Okay. Who's fourth in the technical?
Natalia.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Jasmine.
Okay. The only reason I say Natalia is because I feel like she's really good with cakes.
Yeah.
And then,
But not chocolate.
well, it's just very different. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like she's really done well with cakes and, like, pastry-ish sort of things.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
chocolate's different. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
There you go. Okay, so that wraps things up here. We will return next week, of course. In the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at GCBS Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at GCBS Podcast. We have a Facebook page. It's The Cooling Rack, a podcast about the Great Canadian Baking Show. And you can find us on our website, coolingrackpodcast.com. Please be sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, particularly on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to leave a review, please subscribe. Tell us what you think. Do whatever. It's fun. And that'll be great. And until next time, bye.
Toodaloo!
The Cooling Rack is a Messenger Bag Media podcast. For more on how Messenger Bag Media could be your business's one-stop media shop, visit messengerbagmedia.ca.